Quick side note, when I picked up Digimon the movie, I also picked up another VHS tape, which was a collection of episodes from this season. And this is where the tape begins. After, I would guess, 20 Digimon have been eaten, another comes through from the other side of the program. Yamaki at this point is stunned. Not only did his flawless program fail, but he opened a gate from the digital world to the real world. This gives Takato the opportunity to try to stop this, with Rika and Henry quickly joining in. The plan is to have Renamon go in first, and through the Digivice, see what is up there. After some looking, the Digimon reveals itself, but there is no information on it. First, Renamon digivolves the Cubimon, but is unsuccessful. Then Gargumon, with the same result. On the way down, Terriermon is able to give the group some useful information. This Digimon circles around right before it attacks. That is when Growlmon can strike. It seems like Growlmon has got him, when this Digimon takes a bite into Growlmon. For a moment, Takato feels this pain, and then passes out. In what I guess is another dimension, Takato meets Growlmon. However, most of him is missing. Growlmon says he wants a second chance, but needs Takato's help. After some deep thought, he says yes, and reaches out to Growlmon, only to awaken to squeezing Calamon's hand. I haven't mentioned this guy before, have I? The main thing you need to know about him is he is a loose Digimon. It always seems to appear whenever a major digivolving happens. Usually the red triangle on his forehead has the power. This one is a little different. Instead, another blue card appears, digivolving Growlmon into War Growlmon. With this extra power, it's as if Takato and War Growlmon have become one. Takato feels all of War Growlmon's blows and takes each step with him. With this, the battle is won. In this episode, Takato takes the idea of being a tamer really seriously. First, by making a team flag, and then by starting a patrol. However, Henry and Rika are busy, so ultimately Guillemon and Takato have a day of fun. While Rika is returning from, I guess this would be Kabuki Theater, the subway home, shrouded in a thick fog, and another big Digimon comes in, this time in the form of a snake. After some time, the group manages to come together, and this snake is defeated. Before he disappears, he says that he is one of 12 Devas, sent by what is known as the Sovereign. The next episode, the Deva comes in the form of
All right, big chicken?
After that, we get a brief glimpse of one of the Digimon monster makers. He runs into a random kid and gives him a card. This kid only wanted 7, and making this the 8th one is quick to get rid of it. After changing a few hands, it's given to Henry. Terriermon then suggests, why not swipe it? The card seems to jam in the Digivice, but after a few tries, morphs into another blue card. Curious about it, he asks his father to take a look at it. He hooks up some sort of scanner. I guess it's a card reader. Can't really imagine a floppy or a CD fitting in one of those. In scanning it, the father notices something shocking, but remains standoffish to Henry. The question then comes, where did this card come from? The gang then follows the chain of traders until they meet the original. The kid couldn't give much in detail as to who gave him the card. The only feature he could spot was a yellow jacket. Tao Wong, Henry's father, starts to have a flashback while doing Tai Chi, I believe. The Digimon project was successful, but then all of a sudden was shut down. Since that day, he never thought he would ever see code from it again. What Tao really saw was the signature left by Shibumi, the most elusive of any of the project members. 2 more Devas appear, Pajramon and Vajramon. The fight is split into 2, Renamon taking Vajramon and Gargumon taking Pajramon. With Renamon's portion, there appears to be a mutual respect between the two, even though they both have different ideologies. The other portion appears to be ending quickly with Gargomon being turned to stone. Henry then tries the new blue card, which digivolves Gargomon into Rabbitmon, which you may remember from the Digimon movie. With this power, Rabbitmon is able to destroy both of them, or at least Pajramon. Somehow, Vajramon comes back. He wants to talk with Renamon, and after some resisting, Rika lets her go. The next episode, I think, has a fun perspective change. There's a section where one of the workers of Hypnos, Riley, going through an ordinary day, wanting to have a life, but consistently having to go back in the work for emergencies. While she's walking through the streets, there's a bit of dramatic irony.
Chasing after all these wild ones seems like such a waste. Even when we find them, there's hardly anything we can do about them. All this money spent on a top-secret organization, and still, the only ones who have any success against the anomalies are those kids. I wonder who they are.
It's short, but this is a perspective that isn't ordinarily explored in other media. Anyways, the conversation between Renamon and Vajramon starts off with him trying to convince Renamon that humans are not needed. This does not work on Renamon, and the conversation turns deadly. I can kind of relate to that. Even with the combined might of all the Digimon together, Vajramon is a force to be reckoned with. When everything seems over, another blue card appears. With it, Kyubimon digivolves into Taomon. Whether Taoism had an influence on the design, I really have no idea. With this new form in hand, Vajramon is defeated, for real this time. After the fight, we get some insight into why Renamon left. Turns out, she was just getting information on the Sovereign, and had no plans of converting. The next day, Henry goes to his sensei for some sort of martial arts. Kung Fu, maybe? The sensei sees that Henry's mind is somewhere else, and decides to take a break. This seems pretty similar to how Cody's grandfather was in Season 2. Anyway, Henry tells his sensei about the Devas. He starts by bringing up the idea that they are evil monsters. But the sensei says that they may actually be good. The story, according to Sanskrit, is that 12 Devas joined together to defeat Tesoro and prevented him from coming to the real world. I never read Sanskrit, so I'm not really sure if there's any translation or value in there. To this, Henry is shocked in hearing the idea that they may be good. His sensei brings up another opinion. Those that were on the side of Isoro thought of the Devas as being evil, and it's all a matter of perspective. This is a rather unique twist. For the first time, we start to question, is what the Tamer's fighting for really for the better? Like Calamon, there is another character I forgot to mention, Impmon. For the most part, he is a drifter causing trouble whenever he gets bored, or acting impish. From bits and pieces, we gather that he was a Digimon of two selfish children, who nearly tore him in half under one such time. This is why he is on the street. His one desire is power, and he is convinced he can get this without the help of humans. Do I bring this up? Later on, another Deva comes, this time in the form of a horse. Impmon challenges him to a fight, and is nearly killed for it. While Indramon is about to land the final blow, another experiment from Juggernaut takes effect, causing Indramon to be paralyzed. Before the program is fully up and running, the system shuts down. With this, Indramon appears to self-destruct. Meanwhile, Henry's father, Tao, has been invited to Hypnos. At first, it appears to be a lecture. Instead, he gets a tour of the facility, and a reunion with the other monster makers. There is one exception, Shibumi, who seems to elude everybody's grasp. The plan is to find some way to get the Digimon problem under control. Indramon comes back for one last battle, and after a fake card by Kazu, Growlmon digivolves to War Growlmon and quickly ends him. For the next episode, we focus on Jerry, a girl in Takado's class who was the first one to meet Guilmon. She's been interested in Digimon, but only in this episode we see how much. See, she has a large pile of cards, as well as a wish to be a tamer as well. She comes up with the idea that Calamon is her Digimon, and attempts to use him to defeat another Deva, this time in the form of a rat. The fight does not go well when Leomon shows up. He is able to fend off the Deva, but at a cost. Now Jerry believes Leomon is her Digimon. Naturally, he runs away from her grasp and is caught by Takato and Guilmon. It would appear that Leomon was attacking Calamon, so Takato orders a fight. Before the first blow, Jerry comes back, forcing Leomon to flee again. Kupiramon, boy these Devas have some complicated names, comes back for another fight. Here, Jerry is disillusioned about Leomon. On the bright side though, Leomon is able to defeat the Deva. This leaves Jerry alone, and Leomon back to where he belongs. Next episode, there is a revelation. The Devas are based off of the Zodiac. If you've seen Jackie Chan Adventures, you probably already know what all of them are by now. The Devas left are Rabbit, Monkey, Dog, and Pig. The Deva that comes through this time is the pig. Unlike the other Devas, this one is huge and leaves a gigantic trail of destruction wherever it goes. I like the idea that this is treated like a real thing. For example, in Power Rangers, whenever there is a big monster fight, we see the city be destroyed, but for the first time, we see it from the perspective of the people that actually live there. As such, there are evacuations, checkpoints, and even the military steps in. However, only the tamers can keep this beast at bay. Yamaki then tries again with his Juggernaut program. This time with some pretty good success. Not only is the pig starting to go, but so are the other Digimon. Then, without warning, there is a message from one of the Devas, written in binary. It is from the monkey, which has come for Calamon, as well as written a manifesto as why humans must go. Then, he throws something into the core of Juggernaut. I'm guessing it's a denial of service attack, something along those lines. All the same, Hypnos is shut down and starts to self-destruct. Much like a captain going down with the ship, Yamaki is the only one that stays. After the action dies down, there is one face staring at Yamaki, Riley. Though few words are said, there is a lot of emotion to this. Yamaki simply tells Riley to leave, which she does, but not before wishing Yamaki the best. After the shutdown of Juggernaut, all the Digimon are revived, including the pig. After a harsh battle, the pig is finally defeated. This victory is short-lived, as the monkey comes by and swipes Calamon away. When Leomon comes back to try to stop him, the monkey lays a powerful blow, sending Leomon to the ground. As Jerry rushes in to save him, a Digivice appears before her. Turns out, she was right all along. The episode ends on a really somber tone. This is no longer a game, but a life or death choice. True, people didn't die from this, but who's to say the next Deva won't do worse? The first step is getting Calamon back from the Devas. They don't know what purpose he has, but it's probably not good. The next episode is not only a tearful reunion between the Tamers and their families, but at the same time, a frantic search for a way into the digital world. One of the things I love about this episode is how each Tamer reveals the Digimon to their families. For Henry's dad, he already knew about Terriermon from an earlier encounter. With Rika's grandmother, Renamon is discovered by accident, but at the same time, she had a feeling Rika had a guardian angel. Only then, she knew the form of it, and was grateful for keeping Rika safe all this time. Takato has to be my favorite. He goes for the direct approach. He simply just walks up to his parents with Guilmon and explains everything. After this explanation, the mother is scared to death of what is going to happen, when the father dramatically leaves the room. He gets to work making Guilmon bread as a way to ensure Takato's safe return. The mother is still worried for his son, but eventually learns to trust him. We then see a disgruntled Yamaki, still disturbed that his Juggernaut program ended Hypnos. I have a quick side note for this. I'm not sure if this was ever explicitly said in the original, but I think that Yamaki was a chain smoker. There are a few reasons for this theory, the more minor being his raspy voice.
I cannot allow this obscenity to continue. There is simply too much at stake.
Which is a trait of some smokers. My second reason is the lighter he always carries around. With this perspective, it seems with him opening it, he's saying, "I need a cigarette," then quickly closes it, since he knows it's not good for him. You may also notice that this opening and closing gets more intense when the situation gets really bad. My final reason is when you see him at his apartment, in this state, he has given up, and you can just see mountains of cigarette butts in his ashtray. Once again, it's just a theory, but if anybody has seen the original, can you tell me if this was intended? In this state, he is visited by his most valued employee, Riley. She has come to talk some sense into him, but he just wants to sit there. Then, there's a spark. He starts pulling up data on the Tamers and their Digimon. We later see him at the end of the episode not only offer a communicator to the Tamers, but also encouragement for their journey. I'm getting a little ahead of myself. The portal to the digital world is found right under Guillimon's cage. Shortly after, the kids leave a message for their teacher that they will be going away. The teacher is disturbed to hear this and tries to confront them. However, this is in vain, as they still end up going anyways, but give her all the respect as a teacher as they can. The next stop is the digital world.